It'd be nice if I hit mute button. So as I was saying, we're back at it again. Hit the one button if you can hear me. Two or three. Yeah. And I'm getting a text message saying I'm muted. I already know it. I can't hear it. Yes, I know. I had no sound. I was muted like a moron. So let me send the link out to everybody who wants to join us because I didn't get a chance to send it out earlier. So let me just do this really fast, guys. Bear with me 1 minute because I am struggling today. Put it this way, it's been a long day, so I'm falling behind. Where is the next person I'm looking for? Ah, here he is. And bada bing. So, and I am gonna put it in the chat so everybody can have it. Where is my chats? Here we go. Anyway, want to join us tonight? Go. Okay, so let's get into it. So, how many of you guys, over the years, you want to see a good fight, a fight that will be like memorable, whatever that is. If it's a fight of the decades or fight of the generations, whatever it is. Ah, that's a lot better. There we go. So, oh, where'd you go? No, come on, stay. What is that saying? Oh, well, I ain't really having problems with the damn thing tonight. Hopefully it stays this time. Stay graphic. Good graphic. Now stay. Stay graphic. Good. Anyway, so I was saying, this fight kind of reminds me, I'm not gonna lie to you guys, one of the Rocky movies. When he came out of retirement, Rocky, I think it was Rocky Balboa. Let me look it up actually, because there's so many different Rocky movies I can't remember all of them. The two made Rocky movies. Actually, now that I think about it. Let's see. Where are they? As I'm looking this up, exact one I'm looking for, I think it's Balboa. I'm not mistaken. Yeah, it was Rocky Balboa in 2006. So he came out of retirement, a fight, the champ at the time. Everybody was calling the guy a coward, yada, whatever. I'm not saying this is exactly what it is, but it kind of reminds me of that. The reason it kind of reminds me of that, it's like it was back in the day. Think about it. Mano a mano. Punch after punch. There is no bullshit. Fist after fist. Makes you wonder. This is where I think. Do you think wisdom and experience is gonna win the fight, or youth and speed? Both have the power behind the punches. We can't argue that factor. It just is back there. Like, I'm brave enough, but I'm not brave enough again in the ring with those guys. I might talk shit behind the microphone, or way far from them. They cannot get their hands on me. But let's be straight up here. Scared or not scared, doesn't matter. They have the power behind the punches. Now, it comes down to speed and experience, I think. So we all know, Jake, Paul, whatever you want to call his ass, young buck, old man, stupid, whatever. He has speed. But does he have the knowledge enough to able to dodge? Listen, let's be honest here, guys, for a second. Tyson, he's been around this ballpark more times than we can count. He's been fighting for a very, very long time. And I can't sit here and tell you, he's going to be the next, ultimate champion. Paul will be with us in a little bit. He's running behind, and I want to apologize. He just told me also I have my title completely wrong, so my bad, guys. I was rushing the last minute to fix this because OBS was not agreeing with me, and this is streaming. I wasn't agreeing, so I gotta redo everything now. So what can I say? But the show might go on. You know what? I might have technical issues. I might have this issues. I might have that issue, but I'm still here. Let's keep us correct what it's due. We're still live. We're still having this conversation. Hey, my chair broke, and I'm still here. I'm still live. I'm not even joking. You can see it back there. It's all fucked up. I busted my ass live, by the way. If you want to go back and watch it on BMU show, yeah, I busted my ass. So I hope nobody realized I busted my ass on that. I'm just saying, I did bust my ass. I'm probably gonna go back and look at it in a couple weeks and laugh at it then. By now, I'm kind of mad my chair broke. My poor little chair that I've been using for a while. I'm very happy with that chair. Now I gotta get a new one. Yeah. So, not very happy. So, cheers. Out with the old, new, into the new, right? Anyway, back to the jobs. So I do think it will come down to a couple things. One of the things I think is going to definitely come down to is who can out punch who. Obviously, there's a lot of factors there too. Strategy. Who has a better strategy? Is it gonna be more body shots? Is it gonna be more talking, doing, wear them out? This also reminds me of another Rocky movie. If you really think about it, you had Rocky. I think it was Rocky 4. Maybe I need to keep this up because it'll make my life a lot easier right now. Here it is. Boom, boom, bada bing, bada bing, bang, bang. Where is it? Boom. There we go. And we got our unofficial cheerleader. Yeah. Rub it in. Next time you bust your ass, I'm gonna laugh at you. So, Rocky 4, when he was fighting the Russian. The Russian was more powerful, if you remember. I'm using these as reference, obviously. I know this is fiction. But in reality, let's think about it. The guys can outpower you. Can you out-tire him? I think so. I really do think you can out-tire a stronger fighter. Any days a week, any question about it. I think you can out-fight him too. I think you can out-beat him on that. That's my personal opinion. I'm not saying it's a bad thing. I'm not saying it's a good thing. I think you could do that. You know what? I just realized I forgot to send the link on one other person. Holy shit, I am a dumbass. 2 people, actually. I'm going to send it to. Let's see. I love when I forget to do things and I have to do it last minute live, and I hate that. I look very, very unprofessional. I do apologize. I feel like an idiot. Let's try this person. Let's copy it. And send. Yeah, I hate when I do this last minute. I apologize, guys. This haven't been one of my best days. This is one of those days. When you turn this in emails, you get weird pictures. Yeah, that's what just happened. And let's see if Ray's available. Where is he? Alright, so all the links are out. Hopefully I don't forget anybody because I am getting old for this. That is also our pain. Give him credit. Anyway, back to the thing. I do think you can outperform somebody. Doesn't matter if you're younger or old. I think you can out train somebody. You can out strategize somebody. I think all that stuff. So it's only time will tell. The fight's coming up. When is the fight? That is a good question because I don't remember the date. Uh, Logan. Oh, nope, that's not it. Ah, here it is. But so far, he has, Logan. He hasn't fought any good professional fights, but yeah, he has. He definitely has outperformed a lot of people. July 20th at the AT&T Stadium in Texas. And it's going to be on YouTube. I like that part. I think, no, I'm sorry, I don't know what the fucking call it. Netflix. If you have Netflix, you're definitely going to see. You know what? I'll be fucking pissed. I'm not going to shit bullshit anybody. I'll be fucking furious if Netflix charges an extra fee just to stream that fight. I'm going to be goddamn livid. Beyond livid. Seriously, like, if they fucking turn around and say, oh, you know what? Let's ask for another $50 fucking dollars for the fight. I'll be fucking pissed. I can see them do that. Be straight up together. I can see them doing that. I can see it. I just don't think it's a great idea to do that, but I think they're gonna lose a lot, viewership. I think that's gonna be one of the biggest fights they're gonna have on anything. Not if, is when. So I know they had the press conference already. I think it was a weigh-in or something like that. And I know Paul was like joking around and doing all these weird stances, but he doesn't know who he's walking into there. He's walking into with a demon in there, and I think he's going to destroy him. Not if he's going to destroy him, he's going to destroy him. But again, things can turn around. I don't know. But here's the other thing: how do we know this fight's not rigged? That is the one question. Maybe this is like a show thing, not like a real thing. You know what I'm trying to say? Because I'm not saying Tyson's out of his league, out of his prime. Well, I am saying that, but it's just one of those things. I don't know. It can go either way. All right. Come on, tight. There you go. So you can see when are these guys showing up. But it can go either way. The fight can go either way. That is I think that's the sweet spot about this. This fight can go anyway, either way. But what is the questions we need to ask? That is the question of the day, I think. Let's get this up and running. Oh, here we go. Let me get my questionnaires up. Give me a second to load, guys, and I'll be right with you. So in the meantime, let me ask everybody a serious question, and I need a true answer. Have you guys today? Pay attention. Have you guys hit the like button, the share, and subscribe? So let's get this guy in here because he just showed up as I'm trying to stuff. I guess. Mr. President, how are we doing tonight?
Okay, all right, just settling in, and sorry I'm running a little bit late, but yeah, definitely looking forward to the combo tonight.
Oh, Yeah. I tried to reach out to some other guys and see if they can put their input into it, but I'm still haven't heard anything back.
Hmm.
It was a little rough day, and Streamyard and Restream and OBS was not cooperating with me tonight, so I might have to figure some things out.
Sure.
How technical stuff are, you know what I'm saying?
Hmm.
So, first of all, how is everything else? Are you looking forward to the fight?
I don't know. Honestly, I'm a bit of a boxing purist. I've followed boxing
Mm-hmm.
most of my life. I came in on the tail end of Muhammad Ali's career, and so boxing is very near and dear to me. And certainly, boxing's at its best when you have the best fighting the best. But it's interesting because even back in the day, Ali, towards the end of his career, he did a lot of things that I think hurt boxing. He did fights with wrestlers, Antonio Inoki in Japan, which was his ass. He fought these exhibitions with like Lyle Alzado, who was a football player, and just different things, just to make a spectacle of it. When basically he might have been nearing the end. They say the fight with Joe Frazier in Thrilla Manila 1975, that probably was like his last time he was like really at his peak. And that both him and Frazier probably should have retired after that fight, because what we saw in the next 3 years of Ali's active career was a lot of inactivity and a lot of less than stellar performances, sort of stealing wins. I mean, he had some very controversial wins over um, Ken Norton. He had a controversial win over um, um, Ernie Shavers and just other top flight guys that didn't settle well in. So I think with boxing there is an age limit. There is a time where you're just not going to be at your peak. And I think there's a time to get out. And unfortunately, as we saw later on in his career, we saw the Parkinson's and all the other things came in. And so that's just something you just don't want to see fighters go through, certainly in their latter years. And so here, so with that, sort of again, I like the best fighting the best at their peak. And I'm not a big fan of these exhibitions and pseudo fights and things of that nature. So I mean, what I've seen over the last few years with Jake Paul, and certainly the Paul brand has certainly been using their social media following to do relatively outrageous things, um, getting in the ring with people who, quite frankly, just weren't boxers. Guys getting seriously hurt. You had a basketball player he got in with, I think his name was Nate Robinson, who got seriously concussed and knocked out. He's fought all over the hill MMA fighters. The only major fight that he had with anybody who's even considered to be a legitimate boxer with an actual boxing record was this guy Fury, I think the brother of Tyson Fury, that he lost to. And he's never been in there with a guy who really has a background in boxing. He's not even beat someone with a strong amateur boxing background. But they've been able certainly to parlay that into success. Obviously, you can't argue with the business that they've done. And they certainly have a following. And now the other brother, he's active in WWE, um, so they're certainly used their social media presence to create a brand for themselves. So on that hand, I'm not a fan of the Paul brothers for and again, I'm not it's not that I'm upset with their success. I mean, again, I admit they've been very successful at the brand that they've been promoting, and certainly the numbers show that. um but I'm kind of old school in the sense, I think as a fighter, you come up through the ranks, you build your record, you earn the right to fight for major titles, and with that comes money and prestige and all that. I mean, some people say that they're changing the game. So in that sense, I like to see guys just come up and do things. This is one of the criticisms I have of MMA, is that a lot of guys, you can have a guy with like 15 wins and 6 losses, and he's fighting in a title fight somewhere. I think that um, guys who, and again, it's the fights that certainly Dana wants to put on. But I think there's a meritocracy, I think, to boxing, where you raise up through the ranks, you demonstrate by beating successful opponents, you rise up the rankings, you earn the right to compete for a major title, and with that comes the finances and everything from it. Now again, I'm not naive to say that you got a lot of guys who did all of that and are just boring to watch because their style, it might be amateurish or whatever, and it's just not something that garners. I understand there is an entertainment side of boxing, which certainly Mike Tyson, and I go back all the way back. I remember watching him for the first time on ESPN in 1985. So, in fact, I even saw Mike Tyson at the 1984 Olympic trials when he fought Henry Tillman to go to the Olympics. I saw that fight. Actually, I thought Tyson won the fight, but they gave it to Tillman. Tillman went on to the Olympics. He won a gold medal. I guess Tyson avenged that loss several years later by knocking him out in the first round. But certainly I saw the star on Tyson then, and I was automatically drawn in just by the story. Customato taking him in, and it was like a movie. And so I became a fan then. And then once I started to see him on ESPN, and he was fighting like every 2 weeks, and there's just a sensational guy just going to just knock all these guys out in the first round using a style that I wasn't familiar with, or it was somewhat similar to that of Joe Frazier with the bobbing and weaving. But Frazier only had one really good punch. He only had a left hook. His left was his dominant hand. But Tyson he can knock you out with either the left hand or the right hand. He had so many different ways to take you out of there. And so his style was entertaining. His style was exciting. He brought you in based on his ability as much as his charisma or anything else he would have brought to the ring. So he was like at lunchtime in high school, he was the subject of our lunch school discussions at the lunch table. And all we talked about was the fight that we just saw on ESPN the night before with Mike Tyson. And so that fever, that pitch, just continued to start growing and growing. And you just saw this phenom of a fighter. And it's like, man, how is it this guy's beating up heavyweights and these grown big men, just knocking them out, and the speed and the head movement and the combinations and the uppercuts, and just it's like, wow, so Mike Tyson was my Muhammad Ali, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
He was my hero. When it came to that, I said Ali was like my brother's generation and my father's generation. Like I said, when I got aware of Ali, he was already past his prime, and so you saw the charisma, but you saw the declining boxing ability. But Mike Tyson was fresh. Mike Tyson was also the first hip hop sports hero to me, in terms of with the rap music in the 80s and that sort of thing, and him embracing that. Again, you didn't see that with Ali or these other guys, or Sugar Ray Leonard or other guys, Larry Holmes. You didn't see the hip hop, the rap industry align with a fighter the way he was at that time. You had other guys, Hector Macho Camachos from New York City and whatnot, but I don't think he even had that kind of affiliation with the rap community. And so when in his later years, when he started coming out to Public Enemies, Welcome to the Terror Dome and things like that, I mean, it was just a fever pitch. So I'm kind of sharing this backstory just to say how passionate I'm about when I'm answering your question. But I just wanted to give you some background in terms of my affection for Mike Tyson. When he lost to Buster Douglas, I was at Rutgers. We were in a lounge, and there was a bunch of us that were in the student center watching that fight. And that was the first time in my life I was like devastated. I felt like I lost when he lost to Buster Douglas. That's how I was numb when I left, because I mean, it wasn't expected for him to lose, and the way he lost was just I just couldn't believe it. I was numb for days. But that was like my sports hero was beaten. And go back generations before, if the way you felt when Joe Louis lost to Max Schmeling in the first fight, how Black America felt when that happened, or some other just another
Mm-hmm.
figure
Yep.
when that happened. So Mike Tyson was really important to me. And then yes, he came back, and once he had to go to prison for a while, and you saw just the spiraling of his life, and a lot of that I think happened after Customato died. Who again, that story that I told you about from 1984. Customato brings him in. He was a troubled youth. He brings him in, teaches him how to box and things of that nature. Customato dies. Then his one of his managers, Jim Jacobs, dies, and just like all those people who were like supportive of him were gone. Don King comes in, and it's like everything is just sort of regressive after that. And so again, I was very much I used to always think about, man, what if Cuss didn't die? What if Jim Jacobs was dead? He might have um, challenged Rocky Marciano's record for 49-0, which is a puffed up record anyway, right? Because Rocky Marciano, a lot of the guys back then used to talk about him all the time, how great he was. He was 43-0 when he got the fight for the championship, and he beat a 37-year-old Joe Walcott. So he only had 6 title defenses. Well, really five. He won the title, and then 5 defenses after that. But everyone credits him like he was 49-0. It's not like he had 49 title defenses. Mike Tyson had 10 title defenses by the time he was like 22, 23 years old. So Mike, in terms of championship fights, he was already better than Marciano. Or go to other champions like Larry Holmes. Larry Holmes had 20 successful title defenses over Marciano. But a lot of people call Marciano like he was like the untouchable 49-0 record, when a lot of the guys he fought back in the day were tomato cans back in the day. So so I always thought that 49-0 record was kind of suspect. But nevertheless, the reverence that I had for Mike Tyson, um, up until once again he went to prison, he came out, he won the championship again, and you still saw just a lot of these things. He just wasn't the same fighter anymore. And then towards the end of his career, when he was losing to guys who he just didn't shouldn't have been losing to. I mean, again, this sport has um, this sport is undefeated in terms of when your time is up, your time is up. And so that was when he was still like in his
Yeah.
mid 30s. And so now you're asking a 57-year-old Mike Tyson to go in there against a guy who has limited boxing ability. He's got a good punch, he's got a good power. But again, it's hard to say because he's never been in there with he's only been in there with one real fighter, and he lost that one real fighter. And even that one real fighter wasn't like, he's not a world beater. That guy will never be fighting for a championship or anything else. So you have a 57-year-old Mike Tyson fighting a guy who, in my view, isn't worthy to be in the ring with a lot of these guys, and has only been in there with one guy, quite frankly.
So before we get
Uh,
too far here, Paul, I got two
yeah.
questions from it's coming from the chat. So Angela Ho, I apologize if I butchered that wrong. Fucking welcome. So she's asking, I heard Mike knew Tupac.
Oh
Do
yeah.
you? Yep, that's true.
Yeah. Like I said, when Mike won the championship again, Tupac was there. You see Mike Tyson going back to his dresser room after he when he's walking the aisle back. Tupac is right there, gives him a big hug. Him and
Yep,
Tupac were close. Like I said, Mike Tyson was very much
into
integrated
rap.
into the hip hop community from Brownsville, Brooklyn, which is Brooklyn, Queens, the Bronx, as major rap. The foundation of rap was in that
Obviously.
in that time. So yeah, very close to Tupac in that, and a lot of rap figures back in the day. I mean, like I said, he was royalty in that community. And so yeah, so very much so he
And the
uh
second question is,
yeah.
this one I got a kick out of. Were you all alive when Tupac passed away in 1996?
Yeah, I certainly, yeah, I was. And it's just weird because again, you had Tupac and Biggie died around the same time. It was just a very, it was like something out of a mob movie, just in terms of the losses there. But it also talks about, I know you're gonna have a show upcoming on hip hop
Mm-hmm.
and the influence of it or whatnot. I mean, it's it's certainly an ugly story in a lot of respects. That a lot of the legends, or and certainly those that were the two most influential guys at the time, and had to have both of those guys taken out roughly around the same time. Again, I think it did a lot of damage to the industry, and just furthered this narrative that it's just gang based and thuggish and things of that nature. Not to say that it took a dip in popularity. Unfortunately, that lifestyle has been sold to a lot of people, and I think in a lot of negative ways. But yeah, but I remember when those two things happened,
Yeah.
and
So
so they
on my
were
side,
impactful.
I was in Greece. I don't remember it. I was, on the other side of the country when it happened. I remember learning about it when I came back to the states, and I was very surprised. I wasn't into rap back then, like I am now. I was more into the, Metallica stuff back then.
Yeah.
But I just looked up uh, early life. Michael Grace Tyson, his full name, was born in Fort Greene, Brooklyn, New York City, on June 3rd, 1966. He was the oldest brother named Ron. He was born in 1961. Then he had an other sister, Denise, who died recently from a heart attack. I'm sorry, not recently. Age 24, 1990. And a follow up question, I believe, is Max Johnson or whether who was more legendary? Define easy. That's all you, man. That's your question right there.
I can't say it. Look, I put Michael over Prince. Okay, in terms of again, Prince as a musician was a genius. Played 12 instruments, did all that kind of stuff. But a Michael Jackson concert, I mean, you got people literally getting carried out. I mean, just the hysteria. Like people used to compare him to like when the Beatles first came out. If you talk about like that Beatlemania and
Oh,
people were
it's
passing
higher
out.
than
Michael
that.
Jackson was like the same thing. Michael, his talent, just as an entertainer, was just off the wall. His no pun intended, off the wall. But his dancing, and just everything. I mean, he was the first black artist on MTV, because the MTV back in the day didn't want to put black people on.
That's
It was
facts.
Michael Jackson who was the first artist to get onto MTV. So yeah, in terms of pioneer, in terms of entertainer, I can't give certainly not Whitney. Now Whitney was a terrific songstress, and she's from New Jersey, right? So I mean, she's from my neck of the woods, and in fact,
Ex
my
neighbor.
my daughter goes to college in Rutgers, Newark, and we pass by the church that she grew up in. We pass by it every time we go up there, and so certainly, definitely a very talented person, but unfortunately, like a lot of our entertainers and celebrities, a lot, there's some demons that come with that. I always ask sometimes when you have so much God-given talent and the burden of carrying that talent, can you come out to be like a whole person when you have so much stress and pressure on you like that? We've seen a lot of our people. A lot of these guys. Michael's gone, Prince is gone, Whitney is gone. Just a lot of those folks who just change music are just gone. Long
It's
before
funny you
they
say that.
should have, and a lot of it's for the same thing. A lot of drugs. So it's just bittersweet to know that these people were given. I don't know. It's almost like they're. It's you know it's but unfortunately you have so many of these hard that all these
All right, bro. I don't know if you can hear me, but you're glitching so bad and you're frozen right now. Literally frozen. Trying to go out and come back in. Maybe that'll fix the problem. I'm not sure why you're glitching so bad. You're frozen completely, like frozen in time. He dropped. So hopefully you heard what I said. Okay. Here's my thing with Michael Jackson. He's a genius. I don't care what people say about his personal life bullshit. I don't care a fuck about that. I care about the music. Um, I lived in Greece and I lived here. At Greece and here, he was a legend. I remember when a movie came out about him. Can't remember the name of the movie. It was like, wow. It was one of the best movies at the time. Yada yada. Let's get Paul back in here. All right. All right. Let's try this again, Paul.
Okay.
Is it you?
Can you hear me?
I'm trying to figure that out. I can hear fine now.
No, that was where I was. I dropped off
Even
with
last
you.
night's
So
stream, even last night's streams, if I'm being mute, were a lot of people were glitching. I don't know if it's something going on with the internet shit now. And you're frozen again. Yeah, I'm definitely going back to OBS. Didn't have this problem back with OBS. All right. Lips are moving, but I can't hear sound now. Yep, there he goes again. Oh, he's back in. You good now? Can you hear me now? Looks like you're frozen again. Oh, he moved. He's alive, people. He's alive. Hang on. Let's not scare him away. Can you hear us? Yep. I'm definitely going back to OBS. OBS is a lot better. Yeah, there's a problem with OBS. Are you good?
okay,
now?
can you hear me now? I'm good.
Yes.
Okay,
I don't know what you did. Don't change anything.
I'll stay right here.
You look bubbly.
Okay, will do. Yeah.
So
But yeah, but just getting back to again Tyson Paul.
Yeah.
For a lot of reasons, I'm not enthused about the fight. And again, I know they're fighting under modified rules. I'm not sure if you're familiar with the rules are.
No, I didn't know they were doing modified rules.
Okay, so number one, it's 2 minute rounds instead of 3 minute rounds. It's a 10 round
Really?
fight.
That's stupid.
2 minute rounds instead of 3 minute. And they're going to be using 16-ounce gloves instead of 10-ounce gloves. I guess they're saying for safety reasons. I mean, you can still get knocked out with a 16-ounce glove, but again, it's the 10-ounce gloves. I don't know if you're going to be able to do as much body damage. I mean, 10-ounce gloves. I mean, you're breaking ribs. But
so is it more safety for Tyson because of his age, or they're scared that
I don't
know.
know.
Kill Jake?
I don't know. I mean, the human head was not meant to be hit. So again, the idea of hitting a 57-year-old person in the head is not something that I look forward to seeing. And just as a Tyson fan, I hope he goes in there like he did in the past and knocks out Jake Paul in 90 seconds, and we can all go home. And everybody gets paid, and and people just kind of go on with things. But I can't see this being like a 10-round bruising toe-to-toe type of fight. Because Tyson, I mean, power is the last thing to go, so he'll still have that. Now, will he have the wind to go more than 2 or 3 rounds? Because I mean, that hurt him in his career. I mean, he was always came out, the first 3 rounds is, he came out like a house of fire, and he would usually try to take you out of there in the first round. I mean, half his knockouts are like first round knockouts. So, but usually by say round 5, he tended to fade or tire or became more conservative, because he kind of spin his load trying to, get the guy out there early. And you had opportunities to beat him the longer it went on. The last fight that he had, I think it was his knee that gave out more so than he got hit with something harmful. So again, I think the longer the fight goes, I think it goes to Jake's advantage, him being the younger guy, and certainly I think he can be fresher, especially if it goes past 3 rounds. Um, so so that's kind of how I see sort of the pluses and minuses, how I see the fight going.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't, I but those are the rules. So again, it's not quote unquote a real fight in that again you're only going 2 minute rounds and using bigger gloves, but everything else is supposed to be legit. It is sanctioned. It's being sanctioned as a real fight, so meaning it will count on their records. So Tyson, I think he's 57-4 or 57-6 or something to that effect, and so it will count as a win or a loss on his record. But I don't see anything coming out of this. I don't see a major promoter trying to get Mike Tyson, Anthony Joshua, or Tyson Fury, or Usyk, or any of these guys. I don't think anybody's saying that this is Mike Tyson relaunching his career, but I think this is just mostly just a money grab because I think there's a lot of money on the table. I don't know what the exact figure of what he's getting paid is, but it's a significant amount of money that he would be getting for participating in this fight. And so I hope this is a one and done, um, and that we don't have these. But like I said, generally, I'm not a fan of any kind of. Again, I didn't like Floyd Mayweather fighting Ian McGregor. I wasn't a fan of that. I didn't like the promotion. I didn't like the fight itself. I just
Before
like
we get to
boxing.
ahead,
Yeah.
I want to break a couple things down. So first of all, this fight kind of reminds me of a movie. Believe it or not, if you remember one of the Rocky movies, Rocky Balboa, when he came out of retirement because he had things in the closet, he needed to get it out. I don't know if you remember that movie.
And he fights the
2006.
yeah, and he fights.
Yes, this is what this reminds me of. I don't think any way, shape, or what form they're gonna let Tyson win. I think it's gonna kind of be a little rigged, the way this sounds already from the new rules. I think the rules are for more safety for Jake, not for Tyson. And probably for Tyson a little bit too because he is I know whole fart right now. He's like I'm not gonna say I'm a young buck either, but I'm not. How is Jake? In his 20s, right? I think I lost him again. Yeah. So let me look it up till he gets back because I'm not sure how old he is. I don't know what the heck is going on with the internet today, but I'm not too happy with it. So let's find out his age. Till Bo gets back. He's 27, guys. So 27 versus a 50-something-year-old man. Yeah, that's no. So and also we have to consider type of fighting styles. They're both different fighting styles. So these. All right, he's back already. All right, you good now?
I think so. Can you hear me?
Yeah, I can hear. I don't know what the hell is going on tonight. I don't know
Yeah,
if
it's it
it's
might
really.
be on my side. Like I said, I was having some connections just before I got on with you. So,
Okay.
but hopefully it's
So I
okay
was
now.
saying, I don't know if you heard did you hear what I said or no before?
I think you would ask me about his age. I think it was like 28. I think it's like 28, 29, something to that effect.
27 actually. I just looked it up as your way.
Mm.
He was 27 versus a 54 is Tyson. If I'm not mistaken.
He's 57.
57. Okay.
He'll be 58 this year.
Yeah. I think the ball. I'm not really worried about Tyson because he's been hitting and hit so many times. I don't know. I think he can handle a couple more punches. But I feel this is more a protection for Jake. He has never been in a ring with someone like this.
No, he's like I said, he's only been in with one person whose career has
Yeah.
been a fighter, a boxer. Everybody else have been like MMA guys, MMA guys past their primes. Again, basketball players and just all other types of people. But again, I don't think Jake would beat like a top amateur. So like, we have the Olympics coming up, this year. I don't think, you take any one of those amateur from light heavyweight up. I don't think, he could beat either one of those guys. Um, so that's how little I believe in his ability. Like I say, he can punch hard, but again, boxing is not grappling or striking or anything else. It's a totally different discipline. Some people add boxing to their repertoire in terms of martial arts, but it's not the same thing. And for a person, uh, to be that late in life to pick it up. Now I know Deontay Wilder, just as a comparison, Deontay Wilder didn't start boxing until his early 20s. He kind of took it up as a necessity because I think he had a daughter who was sick, and he needed to learn how to fight in order to fight to take care of her. He had some success. He went to the Olympic Games. He got a bronze medal, I believe, despite starting at such late in his career. And he has one thing that a lot of people don't have. He had a devastating right hand. At that he could take you out with one punch, and that was used to great effect into most of his career. Now he's at the end of his career also, and it looks like he's gun shy. Like the last fight he fought, he barely threw a punch in the fight, and I think that just has to do with again, age, and do you have it in the tank to want to do this again? And that's so important to a fighter. You have to want to do this. And if he's thinking about his post career, if he's thinking about, he wants to be an actor, he wants to do certain things, he wants to get more into business. And, if boxing is not going to be your priority, then yeah, I think you definitely need to think about another profession. So again, I can't imagine, like I said, Tyson with this platform. Again, he's gonna make a lot of money for doing it, um, but whether or not it's going to be successful, look, for his sake, I hope it is, because again, I don't want to see a 57-year-old man get beat up, or God forbid, if he gets knocked out by Paul, or has an injury of some kind.
I think
I just
that's
don't want to
gonna
see that happen.
devastate him. If he
What's that?
does get knocked, I think if he gets hurt or gets knocked out, I think they're gonna devastate him because he's known as this iron guy. Like I remember his fights going in high school. We always talk about it like, shit. You saw what happened last night in the fight,
Yeah.
dude. He knocked him fuck out, and like it was like a night. And that's one thing about Tyson. He had a punch that would send you back to sperm town.
Hmm.
And that's how hard it is. Like you don't want to be alive when you get hit with that punch. I know
Yeah.
he has
No.
a very powerful punch. I don't think Paul has as powerful punch as he does. As much as thing. To me, he's not even a real fighter. Personally, I hate saying those words. The reason I say he's not a real fighter, here is my thing behind that. A real fighter will go up the ranks.
Yeah.
I don't know when he picked up fighting, Paul. Like if he's a newbie at it from the last couple years, and he got lucky at it. He only had 9 fights, and he only lost 1 out of 9.
Hmm.
The tenth
He
one's
probably
coming.
started fighting maybe about 4 or 5 years ago. I think maybe it's like his first fight. So again, picked it up in his 20s. Um, and look, I'm not going to say he has no ability, but again, it's not the same thing when you've had guys who've been fighting since they've been like 5, 6 years old, 8 years old, going through Golden Gloves, going through amateur, going through building a professional career. It's difficult for a lot of people to really put that together. But I gotta say, I mean, certainly, um, even the fight that he lost, it wasn't like he got knocked out. So again, I'm not saying that he hasn't acquired some abilities over the years. I'm not saying that he, is if you're not careful, he can hurt you. I certainly think he has some power, but again, he can be wild and reckless
Mm-hmm.
with those shots, trying to take guys out, and he's fighting a bigger guy. I mean, Tyson isn't. I don't think he's as big as he was when he was, a heavyweight champion. He's probably around still 210 pounds, roughly there, but he's also a big guy. I think Paul usually fights like in the 175, 180, 185 range or whatever. So this might be one of the larger opponents that he fights. Um, And I don't know if he's used to taking that kind of power. I don't know if he's used to taking that kind of, body punches, for example, that Mike is known for, throwing these body shots. I don't know if he's up for that. But again, when you're 50 plus, it's like everything could be going right for you in terms of your training and everything, and something just pops, or something just you wake up in the morning and something hurts that just wasn't hurting the day before, but all of a sudden something's hurting now, and then a few hours later or the next day later, like, it doesn't hurt anymore. I mean, there are just so many things that you can be in your 50s, you can feel relatively good, but I recognize I'm not the same person I was in my 20s. I'm clearly not as fast. If I try to do a sprint, I probably pull a hamstring. There's just certain things that I understand my limitations, and the pain in my joints. If I jump up, like say to touch a basketball rim or grab a basketball rim, I might be able to do it within a few tries, but I come down. When I come down, my knees hurt. Just because, just because of the arthritis buildup. So again, we have these things, and so you just would hate for uh a sudden move or jerk, and then something goes, which you're much more likely to do at this age now than he was 20 years ago.
Hmm.
And the thing is, it happened 20 years ago. Like I said, his last fight, I think he twisted his knee or something like that, just doing something in the fight that just wasn't expected. But that was it. I mean, when his knee went out, he was done. And that's just something that again, it's hard to compete, at these elite levels for this period of time. I mean, certainly salute to the guys like the Tom Brady's of the world, or these athletes over 35 and they're still competitive, and in their, Usyk, who just won the championship. He's like 36, 37 years old. So, but the thing is, he never stopped fighting. That's another thing also, when you're coming off a layoff, um, the way Tyson has. It's not easy just to necessarily get it started. You see him, for example, punching the mitts and the bags. You see him bobbing and weaving, and he gives you a glimpse. It's like he's the old Mike Tyson. One thing they haven't shown though is he sparring. I mean, legitimately sparring, like really getting in there, and for rounds of rounds. I mean, for a 10-round fight, you're gonna spar about 200 rounds. That's usually the norm. 200 rounds of sparring to get into a fight. Has he put that kind of work in? Has he been taking punches from big people? You know,
Yeah,
that's
especially
something that
moving
I don't think
fast.
you can, just hitting the mitts, or the heavy bag, or the guy with the mitts and the bodysuit. I don't know if that simulates real combat. I think you have to put yourself in that space on a regular basis, not only to take away the fear of combat and getting hit, but really to truly prepare you. Everything else is just a simulation. But you have to be in. And the interesting thing about Tyson, like back in the day, he would spar without a headgear. That was like an old school training method from Customato, because he's Customato believed if you train with a headgear, it builds up a false sense of security in your head that you can take a shot. And what oftentimes happens is that you end up taking more shots than you did before. And so, um, but he would train guys, and the sparring partners were told, like, don't take it easy on him. Like, go out, like, try to hit him, try to hurt him.
Try to
So
take him out
his
pretty much.
sparring sessions were, intense. Has he been having those? We haven't seen the footage of that. All I've seen is him on the mitts and him bobbing and weaving, and things of that nature. But has he been in with a guy who's hitting him with bad intentions? To me, that's the only way you kind of get up and ant for a fight, is if you're in those situations. And I don't know if he's done that. I don't know if he's been putting in that kind of work against a guy who on the other side has bad intentions to hurt you with a shot. I think you need to be primed for that. And that just doesn't come back right away. And just from just from the type of training that he's doing now, he looks terrific. I mean, he's got a body that most people would appreciate at almost any age. All those things are good, but we're talking about combat here. You're talking about shots to the head here, and does he have that? You know um,
So here's the thing I
sure.
have. So Tyson's one of the last fights wasn't that long ago. It was another expedition fight. It was November 28th, 2020. So he's been in the ring, for
Yeah, but with Roy Jones, and
uh
that was yeah, he was in with Roy Jones, and that was basically like an exhibition. They
yes.
didn't really go in there like really trying to hurt one another. It was, and Roy made sure that he didn't engage Mike. So he kind of stayed on the outside. He didn't allow Mike to get him to the corner. He protected himself from Mike Tyson's uppercut. So I would say they were sparring, might be a better term for it, but it wasn't a fight. It wasn't a sanctioned fight. It was purely an exhibition. This is a sanctioned bout. So the expectation is that the punches that they're throwing are going to be thrown with bad intentions meant to hurt or to stop the other person. That wasn't the case in the Roy Jones fight. I think they kind of had a handshake deal. Hey, let's do this thing. Let's make some money. Let's just spar for a while and just sort of take it easy. I won't hit you low. You don't hit me low, and we just put on a good show for those who spent the money to buy the pay per view. Um, but if they're saying this is supposed to be a real fight, then that's a different calculus to me. That's a different set of circumstances.
No, that I do understand what you're saying completely, and I agree with what you're saying. I'm not arguing that part one bit. Um, but let me ask you this question because you know his career better than I do. When was his last fight? Official
His
professional
last
combat.
fight was back in, I can certainly look it up.
I can look it
Might have
up
been
too.
2000, 2006, 2007, something around those ranges. I can look it up.
I'll do it right
Um,
now. Just give me a second. Professional. You're getting the same thing
yeah,
from
it
me.
was 2005. It was 2005, and yeah, 2005 against Kevin McBride. And that was back to back loss. So he lost to Danny Williams in 2004. He came back a year later in 2005. Um, and I think basically it was stopped because, again, he had a knee injury and he couldn't fight anymore. The Danny Williams fight, again, he was winning early on. Danny Williams comes in, basically takes him out. He lost four of his last five, but he basically fought every year since 2000. So he fought in 2000, 2001, one fight in 2002, one fight in 2003, 4 and 5, one fight each. Kind of coming out of semi-retirement each time to try to do something. His last major fight, big fight, was against Lennox Lewis, and he got knocked out like in the seventh round. So, so again, he hasn't been competitive for a long time. So you're going back 2002 against Lennox Lewis. That's 22 years. And again, his last fight was 2005 against a guy again he never should have lost to. But
So
yeah, something happened to him.
hold up a second. So Stacey sent me this article on New Break. It says Mike Tyson is a killer. Jake Paul got asked if he will take it easy on against a boxer, and did not hold back. And his reply was, that's the title. I'm sorry. Here we go. Absolutely not, because if he has an opportunity to do the same, take a shot, you know damn well he's going to. And I agree on that statement, to be honest with you.
Hmm.
To finish me is an embarrassment, franchises. So I have to respect that the same enemy, Mike Tyson, is a killer. He's ruthless. he's the most vicious champion ever. I have a champion that Mike Tyson enemies finish him. The legend must fall. What do you say about that, Paul? Because you're a big fan of him.
I'm not buying the hype at all. I'm not buying. Again, even as somebody who back in the day was as devastating as Mike Tyson was
Mm-hmm.
in combat, and you know this from martial arts, you have to be in the arena. You have to be sparring. You have to be in a combative situation where people are hitting you with bad intentions if you really want to get good. So I don't care. You can do, from a martial arts perspective, you can do hours of katas. You can do all of the meditation. You can do all of the things. But unless you are actually getting in the ring or on the mat with somebody, rolling with somebody, and going through the training, you're not going. There's a difference. And for a lot of fighters, what typically happens is towards the end of your career, you lose that desire. I know in football, they say the same thing. They say in football, you have a certain number of hits that you're willing to take to play professional football. When that number comes up, you get to a point to where in your younger 20s or whatever, you're like, yeah, I love to hit. Come hit me. Yeah, I love hit football. I love tackling and getting hit, getting hit. You
That's
get to a
different kind of
point,
hit.
you just say that I just don't want to get hit anymore. I'm saying if the same thing happens in boxing, you don't want to get hit anymore. You don't mind going in there and hitting the heavy bag and working the speed bag and all that stuff. I mean, boxing is a terrific way to get in shape. The running, the jumping rope, the conditioning, the sparring, the push ups, the sit ups, the pull ups, all that what's involved in boxing training. It is a great way to get in shape. That's why you have all these gyms opening up with boxing classes and things of that nature. Because again, it is a terrific workout.
Workout.
I know
Yeah,
guys who are like
I'll
very
give you that.
muscular.
So I want to touch base on the whole fight ready part. Okay, as a martial artist, you can do all the cards you want. Yes, it will help you in a fight. I'm not disagreeing that. Wing Chun Do, again, that's going to help you more in a fight. Yes. Now, if you're not sparring on a regular basis or at least once or twice a week,
Mhm.
you're going to get cream. Like the guy from
Yeah,
UFC, I keep fucking his name, the Irish guy. I can't stand his ass.
McGregor,
You mentioned him before. I'm sorry.
McGregor,
Yes, I don't
Conor
think he's a
McGregor.
fighter. I think he's a punk ass bitch. To be honest with
Yeah,
you,
he
I won't say it
hasn't
to his
won a
face.
fight in 7 years.
He's a bitch, bro. He's a fucking bitch. I'll fucking say in his face. He's an Irish dirty fucking bitch. What's he gonna do? Absolutely nothing to me. I wish he did hit me so I can sue him. But anyway, my point is trying to get to is, I he, I don't think he should have been in the UFC. I don't think he should have been in the cage. I have not seen him throw a decent kick, a decent punch. I think all his fights were rigged. I'll fucking say it. His
Mm.
rigged fights were rigged. The reason he got so big because he doesn't know how to shut this fucking mouth. He's a big fucking mouth.
Yeah, he's a talker, which is
He's a
one of the
bitch.
which is one of the things that I have against MMA is that Dana sells the spectacle. Like MMA is more like wrestling than it is fighting,
They're saying
and that
competitive.
he'll put guys in there that he thinks he can market and he can sell. That's why he's got this guy Covington, who's always put in there with somebody who's says some pretty awful thing, big Trump guy or whatever, and just says a lot of disparaging things about foreign fighters. He put Brock Lesnar in to a championship fight, and Brock didn't even have 3 matches on his belt,
You know
but
why he
yet
did it
you
right.
put him in. What's that?
You know why he did it right.
Well, I think his popularity. I mean, clearly.
Money.
That's what I'm saying.
Yep.
Like Dana goes for, again, not whether or not did you earn the right to fight. Can I make money with you? That's why he does it. And I think it's dishonorable to the guys who have been working their tails off to get into a position to have the right to earn, a living. And he doesn't even pay these guys that much. I mean, a couple guys he may, paid $5-10 million to. Not everyone's getting paid like that. I mean, you're putting all that sacrifice in, you're making a couple $100,000, maybe $500,000. I mean, that's it. I mean, you're not you're not getting a ton of money there. So again, so Dana has a model that works for him. He definitely sells to celebrity just as much as he does the talent of the individuals who are fighting. And certainly Lesnar was able to take advantage of that. Connor certainly was able to take advantage of that. And but he's made his name by being obnoxious, being rude, talking about people's wives and religion. I mean, he just goes to like the lowest
He's a scumbag.
insult, yeah, to get a rise out of somebody. And if that's going to be your model for how you in terms of how you have your promotion, like I said, I'm not as big a fan of it.
So we gotta keep something in major mind. So you gotta forget the WWE and UFC is owned by the same company now.
Well, now they are, yeah, yeah,
Now, but if you compare them before the merger, by side, the way they promoted each other, it's exactly the same fucking shit. It
exactly.
just that one was already known the outcome, one didn't. They say it didn't. I disagree with that personally, but because I saw so many fights as a professional. I can't say professional. I wasn't a professional, but as a martial artist,
Hmm.
I saw enough fights, and I'm like, that roundhouse kick should have been blocked. That is a sloppy kick. I kind of pick it out like you can take the fighter out of the fighter. You know what I'm saying?
Yeah.
So when you're watching a fight, even as I know you never fought professional, you never, but you can see a sloppy fight from a mile away,
Yeah.
and you can say like that fight shouldn't happen, and wait, he shouldn't have won that fight. What's her fucking name? Ronzi, for example, when she lost that fight, her winning streak, people were surprised. Oh my god, she lost.
Hmm.
I knew she was gonna lose. You kind of saw it right on the wall,
Yeah.
oh, she was going for so long, and you only can do it for so long, so your body says, kind of like you need a break here, buddy. And that's what happens usually. Most fighters need a break. I don't buy it. I don't buy the UFC thing sometimes. I'll watch for entertainment
Yeah.
reasons,
Yeah, if
but
it's on, I'll check it out. But it's not like now again. I ask these UFC guys all the time. Name a fight in UFC that was the equivalent of like Sugar Ray Leonard fighting Hagler or Tommy Hearns
that's a good
or
point.
some major fight of the year that's like, oh my gosh, we're talking about this fight 10 from 10 years ago or
But
something. I
but
mean,
but
unless
but
you're
but
the most diehard of fans, it's definitely not with the Gen Pop. I'm talking like the Ali Frazier fight in 71 stopped wars. Think about that. In England, like the whole Ireland thing that was going on, the civil war that was happening in Ireland. Those guys called a ceasefire.
I
Seriously, a ceasefire
think it's funny
because they
actually.
wanted to watch the fight.
Yeah, but you know what? I will give him something. I'll give Jake and Tyson something. The sport hasn't had this big a hype about one fight in a very long time. Yeah, give him that at least.
Um, well, again, when boxing puts on its best, like last year, you had Crawford and Spence, which was a fight that everybody was anticipating. Big, draw coming
I didn't think it's
in.
this.
Um, again, but again, that's coming off of you had a guy who built his career in the boxing ring. And again, as far like I said with Tyson, he earned that street cred. As far as Jake Paul, what has he earned? So again, but he's gonna have an appeal to the non-boxing fan, the guys who, just see him as you want to call him a trailblazer, you want to call him a pioneer in terms of the marketing and whatnot. He has his Gen Zers. His followers are mostly Gen Z, and so yeah, you're gonna those guys who are, or, like I said, the casuals and the Gen Zers, they're gonna follow him, and he's been able to parlay that in success. Like I said, I give him from knowing how to leverage your market is admirable. Like I said, from a business acumen, I cannot negate or put down his business acumen. He's been able to parlay that into a very successful model, and he leverages his social media better than just about both Paul
Yeah.
brothers,
So hold on one
almost better
second.
than anybody out there right now.
So I just looked up the most popular fight in history of boxing. All right. So it came out Joe Frazier versus Muhammad Ali.
Yeah, that
I
was 71. Yeah.
Yes.
That's the one I'm talking about. That's the one that stopped wars. Yeah.
Yeah. So and right underneath, then you got Mike Tyson versus Buster Douglas. Am I saying
Yeah.
that right?
That's the fight he lost. Yes.
Yeah. Then is Kathy Tylerson versus Amanda Spearson. That's a woman. That's one of the women's most popular fights. And it goes. The
Hmm.
list goes on. I think between those three fights we're talking about, I think that's not professionally. Obviously, we can't because it's professional and these are professional. I think it's gonna be a popular fight. I'm not gonna lie to you about that. I
Oh,
think people.
it'll definitely be a popular fight because again, anything that Mike Tyson does is going to be popular. Anything Jake Paul does, I mean, and they appeal to very different audiences. Like I said, Paul is the Gen Z guy. He's going to attract those younger, 18 to 25 viewers. They're going to be interested in everything he does because they're always doing something outrageous. Mike Tyson has been on the scene for almost 40 years, considered one of the
Yep.
immortals, one of the greats of boxing history. Very popular with the fan base, had a very entertaining style that a lot of us, even to this day, will go back and watch on ESPN his fights where he was, at his peak. I mean, very much so he's definitely going to appeal to older fight fans. He's definitely going to appeal to the Gen Xers like myself who remember him at his best. And so again, you put that combination together. Yes, I expect the fight to sell and to sell well. But me as a bit of a boxing purist, it is not necessarily the fight that I want to see because of the risk um, to an older person and the spectacle that's being put on where you have, I mean, major fights that need to be made that are not being made. And again, boxing unfortunately gets it in its own way in terms of making the fights that people want to see because there's so many entities. There's four entities that are involved in boxing.
Mm-hmm.
There's the fighter, there's their promoter, there's the network, and then there's the sanctioning body. And these days, to get a great fight on, it's like the stars have to align and to get all four of those entities aligned with one another in order to get fights on. And that's just one side. You also got the other side of it. So take the four that I talked about times two because you have the two fighters. And so that's why it's difficult to get a lot of these fights made. Jake Paul as well as UFC, they're going outside of that because they just put on the fights that they want to put on. And so that's a major advantage to them in terms of being able to you know, market their brands. Absolutely. And I think boxing is really being hurt by the fact that there's so many different entities at play that are not on the same page and not allowing people to see the fights that they want to see. But again, some of that's the fighter's fault. You got like the ultimate fight in boxing right now that everybody wants to see is not this fight. The major fight in boxing that people want to see is Canelo Alvarez, 168-pound champion, versus David Benavidez, who is RB the number one guy at that. But that's the one that they want to see. That's the one that's going to do. That's the one that's going to do over 3+ million pay-per-view buys. That's the
You think
one that,
so?
yes, that is the
Huh.
fight that people want to see. And they're not going to see it because Canelo does not want it to happen. And the sanctioning bodies don't have the guts to make it happen
To pull the trigger
because
on
they
that.
can strip Canelo of the belts. But he's such a legend and icon in Mexico, and these organizations are based out of Mexico. It'll never happen. So he's got these sanctioning bodies, by the cojones essentially.
He's
And
getting a different section of boxing. It's not like UFC is only one.
right, yeah, it's one body, it's one ranking, And even then, the rankings don't matter because it's ultimately what Dana White wants to have happen. Dana puts on the fights that he wants to see made, and and a lot of that is based on what the people want to see. So he puts those fights on. But again, he'll put guys in there that are there simply for name only. Like I said, he can put McGregor in a fight right now,
Oh God.
and it'll make a lot of money. Whether or not he wins or not, whether or not he gets his last fight, he broke his leg, like a compound break in his leg in the last fight. And so again, everybody knows he's done, but for a lot of these younger people who are not true combat fans, who are not boxing fans, but the casuals, he's a celebrity, he's a personality. And if anything, he's gonna draw people that want to see him in the ring. A lot of these guys want to see him get beat. And they don't get tired of that, seeing him getting beat. I think he's been damaged good for several years. But why people still pay their money to see him, I have no idea.
He doesn't know to shut the fuck up. I think people want to watch him get knocked the fuck out.
Yeah, but again, he gets beat, and he's still out there. He's built a very successful liquor company. His Proper 12 whiskey or whatever that he has. He's very good at selling. He's very good at marketing. But again, it's like no substance, all sugar, and no steak. So it's but that seems to be the model now. Whereas you got guys who are really good, and we just can't get these guys in the ring and boxing. So boxing, I think, hurts itself. And when boxing has hurt itself in this way, you've left chasms open, vacuums open to be filled by exhibitions and the zany and the crazy and these off the wall type of matches that fill the gap because people want to see spectacle. I want to see great fights. So this, regardless of the outcome, I'm not going to consider this to be a great fight. If Tyson doesn't take him out in the first 3 rounds, I think Paul wins the fight because Tyson, I think he'll just be out of gas. And, or he has an injury. I think it's even money that he has some sort of injury, either a calf
Let
pull,
me ask you
bicep
maybe a
tear.
question, Paul.
Yeah.
And I know this is hard for some people to believe. I personally do believe this happens even in boxing. Do you think maybe the fight might be rigged?
Knowing these guys, yes. And that again lead like going into it, like even with wrestling, like if you go back to wrestling back in the day,
Wrestling's
like
always rigged.
way back. But I'm just saying, but people used to believe professional wrestling.
Time out. I know somebody very well that believes to the teeth. You know who I'm gonna bring up, right?
No,
My mother.
she believes wrestling is
Oh God, you ever see her, dude? She's getting on. Get mother. She's swinging her arm. I'm like, man, a woman who's 75 years old or freaking COPD and has cancer, shit, she can swing.
man.
Like
See now
wait.
again, but
With
I
Roman Reigns, she
yeah.
goes, if I ever meet him, I'm gonna grab him and give him a big wet kiss. I'm like, Mom, I don't need charges pressed against you for sexual harassment.
That's funny, man. That's funny. But I'm just saying, but credulity meant a lot to when wrestling when it was wrestling. It wasn't sports entertainment or wrestling. It was wrestling.
Yeah.
Like those
And you
crowds,
said
like
you had to say it like that too, or you piss people off. You couldn't go to wrestling. You had to say it like that too.
right. But I'm just saying, but you had matches like again, even the match was predetermined. There's so many times when these guys would get literally their lives in danger. It like if the heel beat the champion or whatever, it was literally like a death run to get out of the building because the fans were literally had that kind of heat. Guys getting stabbed, like going back to the dress. I mean,
There
beer
only
bottles thrown at
were
them, all kinds
very,
of stuff.
very few fights that actually happened in a ring and we didn't know about. So, a couple things. If you kind of tune the guy up too much, you get a paycheck back. So the next one, like, someone to say Hogan, for example, went up to the guy like, "Hey, dude, you kind of went a little too hard. Can you chill?" It was good example. Triple H, not Triple H. Undertaker, no, yeah, Undertaker with Great Ali. Great Ali was a big smoker. Nobody used to bitch at him. He goes, But he used to tell him, yo, do me a favor, when you go with a forearm in my back, don't go for my neck, go for my forearms. He used to get a kick and go for his neck.
Hmm.
So Undertaker one day came on a nice good paycheck. He gave him his receipt. He got
Right.
him good.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
the one real fight, actually a real action happened on live TV. We nobody knew about it. Film was bullshit at the time. Was Edge and Matt? Man, I met him too. Matt Hardy.
Mm.
They literally went for blows for real there
Yeah.
because they
Yeah.
were
I mean,
fighting over a
definitely.
girl.
Yeah. Definitely stuff spills over. I mean, definitely people give receipts for going too hard, too stiff.
Yeah, that's
That
anything.
that kind of stuff happens. You know what I mean?
Mm-hmm.
But I'm just saying, but as far as I'm saying that the way people what made wrestling back in the 60s and the 70s and even into the early 80s before it was, before the kayfabe was exposed, was that a lot of people actually believed that they were seeing was a legit contest.
Oh yeah.
And I'm saying with boxing, if it gets to a point where people don't believe boxing is legit, then I think it's over for boxing. So if this is rigged, I think it's the worst. So any of those scenarios that I mentioned earlier, Tyson winning by knockout,
Mm-hmm.
Jake Paul winning or by knockout, Tyson twisting an ankle or something, or pulling a bicep or something, fight stops because of injury. All of those would be great outcomes, except if it's proven that the fight is rigged. So I think that'd be the worst thing, not only for them, but it would be the worst thing for boxing. Again,
See, here's the
why
thing,
do
dude.
you want a rig? As Mike Tyson has a legitimate boxing record, why would you want that on to stain your legacy to have a rigged fight towards the end of your career? I just don't,
So
I
here's
just
the
don't
thing.
see that.
On a side note, I asked two other people to join us tonight. I was Mendlin. Never got back to me. Obviously, he's
Hmm.
a married man now. He's probably too busy, and I get it. I asked a buddy of mine. He doesn't do this broadcast, as he told me, and it's fine. I understand. He's a professional fighter. Came from UK. Fought professionally here too. Great guy. He's
Right.
actually he did a small scene in Creed. Anyway, but I really wanted his opinion as a professional fighter and a
Yeah.
professional trainer now.
Right.
What would they think? I have talked to other professional fighters about not this fight, but in general about boxing. Like if you remember the early 2000s, not early 2000s, like mid 2000s, I want to say, boxing kind of took a dip down and UFC kind of skyrocketed a little bit.
Yeah.
Um, and now there has a big comeback again. I will say, boxing is never gonna go away all the way. Let's be honest. This is one of
No,
the
it
oldest
won't.
sports, but it goes in waves. It goes up and down, up and down. It goes very popular, very
Right.
non-popular, very popular.
Right.
Right now, it's very popular. Right again.
Yeah.
I think this is one of the reasons why. But is it going to be staying popular after this? That is the question, because I can ask kids down the street. I can go literally down the street and walk across the high school where I live, and go, hey, do you name five fighters right now off your head? They're gonna look at me like they're going UFC fighters,
Yeah.
not boxing fighters. UFC fighters. I'm gonna ask them. No, tell me boxers. The only one probably one with Tyson and
Tyson and Jake Paul. Yeah.
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 And I give credit for Jake Paul. If I had picked who I will go in the ring, him and his brother, he looks intimidating. I give him credit. He looks intimidating. He has a size on him. He has the look of a fighter. I'm not gonna take that away from him either.
Hmm.
Now his brother, I'm not scared of him at all. I look at him.
What do you think of his? Now, I haven't seen a ton of them, but what do you think of his ability as a WWE performer?
His brother,
Yeah.
decent. He's still very green, very green.
Hmm.
He talks. He is. I call this acting, but I know it's not acting. When they're doing a promos, his promos suck. They need a lot of work, and I know he's working on it. I don't want to come back. In reality, these guys might talk shit. They could be really nice guys in the day. You might meet them, and they say they're the sweetest guys in the world. That is a possibility. And you meet them, you might be a fucking coming douchebags.
Hmm.
Don't know what you meet when you meet your hero. Keep that in mind. Whoever wants.
Right.
I met a bunch of them. I know.
Yeah.
I met two of them that were coming scumbags. I'm like, man, I paid for his autograph. Shit, I want my money back. But, as a wrestler, he has a lot to grow. I wouldn't put the title on him so soon, to be honest. But I think they had to put a title on him because how popular he is.
Yeah.
And wrestling has been the most popular ever has been in a long time now. And some people are actually saying Attitude was great, but they think this is even better. I personally disagree. I think like Attitude Era was better.
Hmm.
But a reason I would say that here is my process before this fight comes out or match or whatever you want to call it. Right?
Hmm.
I know who won already because it leaks out over. People already talk about it. It's a 50-50 chance. So the wow factor is not there. Like the whole thing with Roman Reigns losing the title, I already knew he was going to lose the title this time around. There was no way he would have the title again. So the only thing I didn't know because it was going back and forth on this one was
Right.
if The Rock was going to face him or was it going to be Cody Rhodes.
You're right.
And originally was Cody Rhodes. I mean, The Rock, but they got heat, so they switched it around again.
Yeah.
The Rock and Roman is going to happen next year sometime, maybe this year, but that's gonna be later on.
Right.
They're really likely to get it done this summer because it's very hot right now still. But The Rock is too busy with movies, so I really see it more in the next WrestleMania, kind of like pushing a whole year going back and forth for those two. So with Paul, he's green. He needs more work. And I
Yeah.
think that's why they're pushing him. They did in the Romans. When they split the shield up, they pushed him and pushed him and pushed him and pushed him. They
Hmm.
wasn't working.
Yeah.
So when COVID, and he stepped away because of COVID. Actually, let me rephrase that. The first time he stepped away was because he had cancer. All right, he had to walk away. You gotta
Understood.
show
Yep.
respect
Totally.
that.
Yep.
When he
Yep.
came back, I'm like, okay, shit, he's back. Like, and they were trying to push him down our throats again.
Hmm.
And he walked away again because of COVID, because of his health reasons. Again, respect on that. But when he came back with the beard and he came in like a fucking asshole, I'm like,
Yeah, but that's kind of how it's always worked, right? I mean,
not always.
the crowd always kind of directs where your career goes. It happened with The Rock. Remember, The Rock came in as Rocky Maivia, and the people started chanting "Rocky sucks,"
Oh,
and
die.
then that's what birthed The Rock, right? So I think with Roman, I think people knew that he was getting pushed, and he just embraced. Okay, you guys don't like me, fine. I'll be the heel guy. I'll be the guy. I think the WWE universe kind of has a way of determining how your career goes, and you just kind of go, you just got kind of go with that. So I think that's really at play. What happened there just happened with The Rock. I think it happened with Roman Reigns.
I don't want to say yes 100%. I'll give you a half yes. The reason I say that is yes, the crowd has him, but at the time was Vince was running the company still. He
Hmm.
was his co-end of the day. And he hate listening to crowds. He hated doing that. He says, I'm going to tell you who you're going to like. I'm like, fuck you, man. I don't like who I fucking like. You can't tell
Yeah,
me what I fucking like.
yeah.
Now, versus like Triple H, he knows the business better than anybody because he started from nothing. He moved
Hmm.
himself up the ladder like everybody else did. He get no free rides. People say, oh, he was fucking the boss's wife. He had nothing to do with that. That was before everything. By the time he got there and he met Stephanie, he's already made a name for himself. So if he made it to the WWE or not, did it help? Yeah, I'm not going to deny that. Did it
Hmm.
help to get to his position he is now? Yeah. But he probably get to that position no matter what. If this company or a different company.
Hmm.
But he's a perfect candidate because he knows the business more than anyone, better than Vince. This is why it's so good again. Simple.
Yeah,
If
yeah.
if you like wrestling, now's the time to go get back into it. It's
Yeah, I've been out for a minute, especially when the story broke. It definitely, because my daughter, she's a huge fan. She'll watch, in fact, she was just telling me there was something that just happened yesterday or something like that. There was an event that happened that I need to catch up on. But I've been out of it since for a minute now.
You know what?
Um,
My girlfriend actually, she's been telling me about this for a while, and I actually want a good idea for us too. Actually, maybe we're gonna do like a three not three like maybe you bring your daughter or four if you can go. Maybe we can go catch an event together. She's been wanting to go because they have a bunch of events up here. I didn't realize it in Pennsylvania.
Yeah. Last time I went, like I said, last year we did went to Friday Night SmackDown at Madison Square Garden. So that was sort of like our daddy daughter
Yeah.
bonding session. So yeah, and I even asked her, did she want to do WrestleMania since it was down in Philadelphia, but the tickets sold out so fast, and I was like, yeah, what? How much for nosebleeds was in the hundreds of dollars? So I was
How
like,
much?
wow,
What were there? I'm just curious. How much would say like the decent seats, the good seats, and whoa, like I'm gonna. I'm not point me going there.
nah, it was up there. Like nosebleed seats were in the couple $100 range still. You know what I mean? I mean, and that's a major stand. When we went to the Garden, we actually got some decent seats, but I was just looking at the ticket charts and whatnot. Like upper deck seats were again like 180, 100, 150, $180 per, but it
So
was
you need like
packed out. I
400.
mean, it's been so long since I've been to a WWE show, and the I have never seen though that kind of packed crowd. It was like, because we got there very early and it was just filling up, but it just kept, people just came. I mean, it was like filled to, like, to the rafters. I had never seen that kind of energy at a basketball game or a football game at any other venue. So they know how to put on a show, for sure. But I was blown away by the excitement of that, and I would definitely say, yeah, I would definitely check that out again. Um, in the near in the near future. So yeah, so I'll definitely
So
check with my daughter again if she wants to go to a show sometime over the summer. I know she's about to start an internship, so maybe towards the end of the maybe sometime in August, I'll see what's on the calendar if she wants to go and see something.
okay, so the picture here's where it varies now. Okay, so let's say you're on the left side of the ring. Up high is in 50, 60 range. Lower, you're looking at 120. One side of the ring is 85. Now, if you're at the hard camera, the hard camera side of the ring is the more expensive ones at 135 because that's where the camera hits
That's
the
still, yeah, that's
yeah.
still half of what we paid to go to the Garden.
Yeah,
So
because this is in New York, actually, believe it or not. Right off the, where their interest is, left and right, 2 and 4 is called, is 184 a piece.
mhm.
If you're right, where the rest is, you can stick your hand in
Yeah,
and
yeah,
touch
yeah.
kind of thing.
Right.
And now they're okay allowed to do that. But when Vince was around, you couldn't even stick your hand out there and get a high five from them. You'd
Yeah,
be kicked out.
yeah,
So that's, but it depends on in the tickets. That's what it comes down to because half this arena is blocked off. If you really think about it, that's
yeah,
what it's expensive
yeah.
too because of how big of a thing they have to set up.
Right,
Because
right.
the Megatron, whatever it's called, um, that's half the stadium.
Yeah,
I don't like shit. Imagine having that big ass TV at your home. Just
yeah.
saying.
And it was interesting too. Even when we were in the garden, they didn't. They only showed like the main garden screens at certain times. Like they didn't show it consistently. They would have it on for certain things, and other times they would have it turned off.
When it was
And
live
and
TV, it probably is on and off.
yeah. So it was kind of, they weren't consistent with when they were going to show something. I think it might have had something to do with the broadcast.
Mm-hmm.
Because again, you had broadcast stuff, and then like the main event of the night was with Seth Rollins, and but they were already off the air at that point. So it's like even the cards themselves, it's not like what you see on TV is everything that they're showing. They have
No, they're
obviously
dark
they have
matches.
pre-match, they have pre-matches, and
They're
then they
dark
had the
matches.
main event that was after, and then he came up and did a big speech and everything about, hey, glad to be back in New York City, blah blah blah, and all that kind of stuff before they closed it out. So
A
so yeah.
lot of wrestlers are very humble people because they had nothing. They know to be a wrestler. It's even Cody Rhodes. He had to work his ass off to get what he is. This is
Yeah.
why he left WWE because he was tired of being treated like shit.
Yeah, he was. Yeah, I don't know if
They,
they knew what to do with it. I mean, because he tried to come off of the Gold Dust, like he was Gold Dust brother Stardust.
so
And I don't think that really went anywhere.
yeah.
But he had
So
to go.
here
Yeah,
was
he
the
had to go.
biggest problem what
Hmm.
WWE had always. WWE had a really good writer. I can't remember his fucking name. He was at ECW for a while. Not CW, WWC. Vince Russo, very good
Oh,
writer.
okay,
He was an
right.
asshole, good writer.
Mm.
People blame him for WCW going downhill. It had nothing to do with him.
Hmm.
It was more uh, Rick. God help me out, Paul. Who was running WCW at the time?
Oh, Bischoff, Eric Bischoff.
Bischoff. Thank you. Eric Bischoff ran that shit to her ground with Hogan. Simple as that. Hogan had a power control. He always had, he always will. He still has that issue. He always wants to be the top dog because his name, his face, his moneymaker. I can't blame him for that. Eric could not do it. Was one thing I will say different about Paul Levesque, Triple H, pretty much
Mm-hmm.
versus Eric and all of them. He
Mm-hmm.
does what is good for business. He doesn't care anything else. Money. That's what comes out. It was good for business, meaning you bring me money. More money I make, more product I can push out. But he
Right.
doesn't want to put overdo it either. That is the other problem. He understands. He knows when to put the plug on something.
Yeah.
Obviously, he's still learning that. Holy shit! Who looks like who's just stepped in our little show? Let me get her in here. There we go. And
Hello.
I wonder why she's not clicking the link and come up here.
I don't know if she's
Say?
a. I don't know.
I
I
know
don't know
she's
if she's a
busy. I'm
big
not sure.
boxing fan or not. I don't
Or
know if
wrestling
she's
fan.
a.
No, I think she's a good
Yeah.
wrestling fan. Hey, wait, are
Mm.
you a wrestling fan? Just curiosity, or a boxing fan? But the whole, that's why WC he had a good writer. But when he quit and went to WCW, he hired he had Freddie damn I can't remember his name. He was an actor. He was one of his writers who played Scooby Doo on one of the movies.
Mm.
Freddie Prince, I believe.
Freddie Prinze, yeah.
Yep.
Freddie Prinze Jr.
Yeah. What
Oh no,
up?
Hi.
how you doing? Yeah, I love wrestling. I love boxing. I love MMA. I love karate. I like beating up things. Even though I really never got into it, like, signed up to do it, but I really I like action.
Mm.
Yeah, I'm not a
Two
lovey
matters that
dovey
day.
person, right?
I
Yeah.
heard that. I heard that. So just so we're I guess we're nearing the end here. So again, so you got Mike Tyson fighting Jake Paul. Who do you think wins that fight? Again, you understand the rules. It's a 10-round fight. It's a sanctioned fight, so it's not an exhibition. It's a 10-round fight, but it's 2-minute rounds, not 3. And they're wearing 16-ounce gloves, not 10-ounce gloves, which would be a tradition. So who do you like in that fight, and why?
I know that I like Mike. I heard that it did upgrade to a more serious fight. Um, I think Paul Logan would have the advantage because he's younger, and just looking scientifically, younger men have more testosterone. Um, so there could be more power there and more stamina. But I believe they say Paul Logan made a stab or a jab at his daughter, and we know that his daughter passed. So,
That's
um,
going too low.
and that could be a motivation for him.
Sure.
When somebody wants vendetta, it's just, I don't think you can fight against that, a
Right.
personal vendetta. So we have to see how that matches up. But like I was listening to what you guys were talking about, Mr. Bennett talking about, you have to involve yourself with getting hit and punched and seeing, you know what I'm saying, envisioning, that person, like putting the picture on the dartboard and throwing the darts at it. Like you have to like actually um envision yourself in that fight
Yeah.
and taking some hits and building up that stamina. He possibly may be doing that and we don't see it. I don't know. Um but I would like for Mike to win just one last time, and then he can go sit down somewhere and
I, I
just
didn't. I, di-
do
I
his
didn't ask.
podcasting.
I didn't ask you who you like to win. I don't think there's a person here who does not want, unless you're under 25 years of age, who does not want Mike Tyson to win.
Yep.
Right. So, and I know you're 26, but I'm just saying, I definitely think that, I definitely think that,
Oh,
I
you
think
think I'm young? Oh, that's so
yes, you're
great.
very young. You look 26 years of age. But I'm just saying. But who do you think
You think so?
will win?
You know how old I am, Mr. Bennett?
Hey, look, we say black doesn't
You know
crack.
how old I am?
We say black
Don't
doesn't
do
crack.
it.
So I
Don't
don't.
do
I
it.
you don't
You'll be
you don't have to
Oh,
share
embarrassed.
that. You don't have to
I,
share that
I'm
info.
old, not old, but oh, thank you. Maybe it's just my lightheartedness. My daughter thought I was 25 too. I said, "Oh, baby, I love you so much." I said, "But your mama is 39 years." She said, "What?"
Hey, and you
But
see,
I,
seeing with that, so
oh,
you'll be
what?
perpetually 39. You'll be perpetually 39. But I'm
Oh,
just saying. But I'm just saying. But who do you
I
think
want
will
Mike to
win?
win, but I think Paul Logan, because of his track record, he could win because I was expecting these other people that had a specific skill or whatever, and he took them down. I'm like, what?
Yeah, yeah,
This is right. This doesn't seem logical for somebody that's not a boxer, but I guess he is now because he has experiences and wins.
right, right,
So that's what matters is the results at
right.
this point.
And honestly, I have to agree with you. I said I haven't given my prediction. I'll give it now. I've given several scenarios that are very likely to happen. So Tyson can
Yeah,
knock him out in the first 3 rounds. Tyson can pull a calf muscle. Because again, when you're our ages, you could be feeling great one day, and then you just go for a run and you pull a hamstring or something. So
Speak for
yeah,
yourself.
just I said when my age. I'm older than both of you
Our
guys. So
age, you
so
said.
yeah.
all right, well fine. My age, and
Thank you.
I'll put myself there since you guys are pretty much the same age. So
No, I'm
um
I'm I'm feeling it too. Like we try to say we don't age, but it does happen because like
mhm,
sometimes we don't think. Well, we want to be young forever, but when you're like you biologically change, like I said, when there's less testosterone, when there's less estrogen, things are changing. You're like, oh my god, like
yeah,
literally, my Achilles just went one
yes,
day. I didn't do
exactly,
anything for it to happen. You're
exactly,
like, wow.
exactly, exactly. Yeah.
Hmm.
So
I'm
when
not
you're
gonna
in a
lie. Like some days I get up and my hands are like locked up, like from all the years of beating
Yeah,
them
that's
up and
right.
everything.
exactly,
Confess,
yeah,
confess.
yeah.
You're old.
So any of those scenarios is likely to happen, but barring an injury, I got to go with Paul. If it goes past 3 rounds, I got to go with Jake Paul. So
Yeah.
Tyson
See,
under three
if
rounds or
Tyson's
Jake
is
Paul
smart,
for by decision. So I
if
got to go
Tyson's
with that.
smart, he will work on his cardio. That's where he always lacked. If he works his cardio,
Correct.
the one of the best. One thing I learned from my instructor is you always train at night. Number one. Two, you train like it's a fight. Okay, so if the fights are 3 minute rounds, for argument's sakes, you
Hmm.
train for those three. You do for whatever. Let's say 10 rounds for 3 minutes. You do 10 rounds for 3 minutes. Exact same thing, over and over and over to the
You
point.
actually do it for 200 rounds.
I'm using
For
that as
a 10 round fight, you've trained 200 rounds.
Oh my God.
That's been yeah. That's the training is supposed to be harder than the fight.
yes.
Ooh, I like that.
So yeah, because in the fight you're giving 100%, boom, boom, boom. You can look to end it early. So the fight should be the easy part, but the
Hmm.
training is like that. That's where the grueling stuff is. But that's the thing. I don't know if Mike or even Paul for that. I don't know if these guys even spar. That's the thing. Is has Mike been taking heavy shots from somebody in sparring? Because you gotta prepare for that. And
Mm,
and I don't know if he's doing it. So we all see the YouTube clips of him hitting the bag and doing the stuff. It's like, oh yeah, that's Mike. Look at Mike go. Yeah, he's
yeah,
doing
I
his
like.
thing. But
But
is
you
he
know what?
taking shots?
But those were what he was just doing on his own, probably for his own personal conditioning before this fight. So that's the last image I have of Mike is the sparring with the guy and moving fast and having the speed and everything.
Yeah,
So he's been doing that, but like you
right.
said,
But he's not.
elevating
Yeah,
that.
but he's not taking punches from anybody. And I think that's something as a fighter, just like a football, you have to get hit because getting hit is a condition just as much as hitting. And so you got to be willing to take those shots, some shots to the liver, and be like, "Oh, that hurts." You know what I mean? But then that just preps your mind to say, "Okay, I got to be ready. I got to make sure I protect that area. I don't
Yeah.
like getting hit there." Um, I don't know if he's had that kind of training. So unless I see some footage of him in a ring, sparring with somebody, landing blows and getting some in return, I can't say he's going to be ready for this fight. So for that reason is, and again, as an older guy, I don't know if he can do that because again, the risk of he gets in there if he's doing some serious sparring with somebody and he gets hurt in sparring, which happened to Tyson Fury, like the fight that that came on last week. That fight should have happened in January, but it was delayed because Tyson Fury got cut in training camp from sparring.
Mm.
So again, um, for that same reason, I don't know. Can you risk going that hard in sparring at this point with the possibility of getting hurt then, and then be expected to get into a fight and give 100% at that time? I don't know if you could do it. So
So this goes back to what I was saying originally when I opened the stream today. This reminds me of Rocky Balboa movie because Rocky couldn't spar; he was too old. He
right,
couldn't do this. He couldn't do that. So they focused on weightlifting and back techniques
yeah,
and shadow boxing, pretty much.
yeah,
And somehow he went all these rounds with the current heavyweight champion.
right.
I don't buy it. I'm
No,
gonna go back to the original statement. I think this whole thing is fucking rigged.
it's possible.
Yeah, I don't know. We've been wrong. A lot of the underdog people recently, we've been really forecasting very horribly. Like sometimes based on race. Like the last fight I saw was the black guy and Ryan Garcia. Um, a lot of people thought the black guy was going to win, and
I'll be
things
honest
like
with you.
that.
I
The
did
hype.
want.
And I'm like, oh. And then what was before that? Um, or the boy. See, I don't know people's names,
Hmm.
because I don't get to see these events because I be at work and stuff.
Hmm.
The boy that his mom really kind of raised him rough and devoid him of love, and he just was the underdog of the fight, but he actually won. I forgot
Mm.
that one.
Trying to remember. This is recent.
hmm Probably like last year.
Tank. No, well, no, Tank Davis. I don't know. I'm trying to think.
It was a
Well,
it was a boy. He was raised by his mother, single mom, and she didn't show him like love affect. And he just became this monster, and a lot of people were rooting for the other guy to win, but he came in and went bah, bah, just tore him up. They were like, "Wow,
Might
we
be Tank
underestimated."
Davis. That's the only guy who kind of fits that description is Tank Davis. But
Could be. I don't
yeah,
know.
yeah.
well, seriously, aside. So this is my personal theory in it. As much as I want to see Tyson win, but I think Jake is gonna win it because they want the youth, the underdog, or whatever they call it. They're gonna want him to win because he's the face of it right now. Because he's drawing money. He's a good drawer. Let's be honest on that. He's a dickhead, but he's drawing money. Can
Yeah.
you argue that, Paul?
No, I'll say it again. He's great at creating himself as the villain, drawing heat. And like if this is wrestling, he'd be drawing heat. He's great at doing that. But as like I said, as a boxing fan, I want the best at their best fighting the best. That to me is the lifeblood of boxing. When that goes away, when it just becomes carnival, when it becomes spectacle, when it becomes just a sideshow. Like I said, I thought the Conor McGregor Mayweather fight was a disgrace in terms of the stuff the levels that they did to promote the fight and everything. And that was the point where I said, you know what, I refuse to watch it. I mean, to buy it. I didn't buy the fight. In fact, I even said a few fights earlier, I would never buy another Mayweather fight after the Pacquiao fight, which happened 5 years after it was supposed to happen. That fight should have happened 5 years earlier, and it didn't happen. And so again, I thought I was robbed then, but I had a big fight party. I had about 20, 25 people at the house, multiple TV screens. We were all watching the fight. It was the waste of money for that fight. I said I will never buy a Floyd Mayweather fight again. And with that, I was over it. I was over it. So I'm very selective now in terms of what I will patronize, what I will pay good money to see. And you know, and I know if it's a really good fight, again, I'll have guys over. I love having fight parties. I bring guys over, and we'll you know, grab some subs or some pizzas or whatever, and we'll just hang out and we'll just watch the fights if I think it's if it's worthy enough. But outside of that,
So, serious note on this with the fight you're talking about. I I would never spend money on a fight. Not even on a wrestling event. I spent on it two wrestling events, maybe three tops.
mhm.
And they got fucking things are expensive. Well, I'm not sure about boxing matches, but for wrestling matches, they're like 60, $70 back in the day.
Yeah, yeah,
Now they're
yeah.
even more than that.
It's well, unless you have like now, if you have Peacock,
Peacock's I'm sorry.
yeah, yeah, if you
Do
have
they
the
even have it on
streaming,
pay per
then
view
it's
anymore?
a little easier.
Do they even have it on pay per view anymore? Those wrestling stuff?
I don't think so. I think it's all streaming. If you have a Peacock
That's the only way you can get
subscription,
it.
I think that's where you get most of it.
Okay. Boxing matches are they on pay per view still, or you have to get a streaming service?
Yeah, most of the big cards are
Okay.
all on pay per view. It just depends on the network that they're on. So in recent years, HBO and Showtime have gotten out of the business of boxing, and so now they're going to the streaming platforms, the Zone or ESPN Plus, or now Netflix just got involved in boxing. I think Amazon Prime is also in boxing. So the streaming services are buying a lot more content
Okay.
when it comes to airing all sports. Like NFL is on Amazon Prime and Netflix right now. So I think the streaming platforms are definitely getting in on the action of major sporting events, including boxing. And so, you know, so you have those avenues to through which to watch it. But yeah, if it's a major card, it's always going to be pay per view. Even on the one now, when the Zone came out like 5 years ago,
Mm-hmm.
the premise was you paid $20 a month and you could watch any fight that we have on the Zone. But they changed that pretty quickly. They signed Canelo Alvarez to a $300 million deal, and that deal basically ended the just to pay a flat fee, and that was it. So on the Zone, you have to pay and spend $20 a month on the Zone, and then you still have to pay for the pay-per-view fights. So it's not a good deal. Now ESPN Plus does the same thing, but they're cheaper. ESPN Plus is like $11 a month or something like that. You pay that, and then again, you still have to pay. Like this last card they had with Tyson Fury was $70. You pay that, and so you still have those fees associated with it. But yeah, it's definitely is definitely costly still
Cheaper go to
to
a
get
goddamn
that.
bar.
Yeah, if you find a fight bar that has the fight,
Well, there's a
yeah,
bunch of bars around here that fight. Some of them
right.
just
Yeah,
charge a
but then
cover
they
fee of five
yeah, but
bucks
then
a
they'll
stick.
get you on the food and drinks. You'll spend the same money. So
Yeah,
like I said, that's why I said I would rather get 5 6 guys who are really into boxing, bring them over to the house. Everybody gives me $10 or whatever, 10 $12. We order some pizza, some wings or whatever. We check out the fight or whatever. Everybody goes home happy. So it's good to have the gatherings.
see, this is funny we're talking about this right now because I feel right now with sport entertainment, I have to use it specifically like that because this is a sport and it is entertainment in a day. I
Mm.
think we're in a transition. Like Netflix got into the game and all these other companies. So slowly, I think the boxing thing, excuse me, the boxing thing with pay per view is going bye bye like it did with wrestling. I think
Because even they have an Amazon Prime card coming up with Tank Davis on it. That's pay per view. So
really.
again, it's yeah, and you're still like I said, you're still gonna
Let me ask
pay
you this question now.
right.
So I'm not sorry to cut you off, Paul. Netflix is not charging anything extra at the moment. They haven't announced for that fight. You think of it last minute they're gonna announce something? You have to pay a little extra
It'll
for
be a
that
pay
fight.
per view. Yeah, no question. It'll be pay per view. Now, me, I had Amazon Prime to begin with anyway, because I get the Prime because we order Amazon like every week, like multiple orders a week
Yeah.
in the house. So I already had Amazon Prime to begin with. So
Same here.
that's just for my delivery. So I don't have to pay extra for Amazon Prime. But if I want to get the fight like Tank Davis who fights on June 20th, if I want that fight, I have to pay per view money for it, whatever it's 69, $70, whatever it is, if I want to get that fight. So yeah, so they're not getting rid of the pay per view. What I think they may have to modify it some because what I've learned recently. Now back in the day, all right, so this is a hangout topic. Back in the day, guys used to get those illegal cable
Yeah.
I remember the
Black
fucking
box.
thing.
the black box, yes. So they
Yes.
used to get those. Now they got these boxes now. In fact, my cousin's husband showed me one. It's like you paying like $300, and this thing gives you everything. It's almost like a Amazon
Fire stick.
I forget, yeah, like a Fire Stick or something like that, and it just gives
Yeah.
you access. It's
Mhm.
like three hundred
Oh, I
dollars.
know what you're talking about now. It's a jailbreak fire stick, pretty much.
Yeah,
So it's my cousin used to do it
Mhm.
for like $100 for people.
Yeah.
right,
So and you get all the movies, but it's very glitchy. That's the only catch why I don't.
right. But I'm
I
saying,
get
but
it.
I see like you can go to Amazon now,
Mhm.
order one, and it's like $300. In fact, he was like, look, if you want one, now the only thing is it only works on like one TV. So if you have multiple TVs, you would have to get it for every TV that you want it on.
Oh God.
But you can take it with you. It doesn't matter. You can be anywhere in the country. You can hook it
Mhm.
up to a TV, and it gives you all the channels, all the restricted stuff. It just gives you everything. So that is, I think, they're going to have to address that at some point because it's like if more people get those kind of boxes or whatnot, if they can't find a secure way to secure the content, then they're going to have to make it cheaper because it's like, well, look, if I can get one of these boxes, pay $300, that's a couple pay-per-views right there that it'll pay for itself after a couple pay-per-views. So they're gonna have to find a way to end the piracy or whatever. But yeah, but everybody is getting on this, and that's in America. Now you got countries that are like in India, whatever, where they be streaming this stuff, and then all you need is a link from there, you can get it too. So it's not just here in the States. Everybody's found a way to hack into these fights.
So Paul,
Um,
I'm just looking online right now on Amazon with the fire. Where you talk about the jailbreak on Amazon.
mhm.
They don't have it anywhere. Whatever they had, they probably took her out because Amazon would get in a lot of trouble if they had to just break things. It's gonna be a lawsuit up their ass, so up their ass, out the mouth, and back in their asses. That's how big this lawsuit will be if they had it on their website.
Mhm. They may still have it. Let me see, because I actually bookmarked one. Let me see if it's still there, because I actually had bookmarked one.
Yeah, send it on
If I
the
see
back.
it, I'll see the link for it.
Yeah, send it on the back chat.
Yeah,
I don't
for
need to
sure.
get copyright
Mm.
strike. But you have a good point there. That is a another conversation for another stream because this is one I'm actually planning on doing one soon by a streaming service, and I want to get CQ and my buddy King in this because I like seeing those guys fight. It's fun. It's
Sure.
entertaining.
Yeah, yeah. But listen, I need to bounce. Anyway, so it's
Oh
almost
yeah, we're gonna
11:30
call it
for
for
me, I guess.
tonight. Final thoughts, really fast. Paul, you want to go first?
Well, first of all, it's good to see you. The wife's cool. You look like you're in a really nice location right now. It's like I'm lucky at the mall or something like that. It looks really nice where you're at.
No, it's my job. It's my job. Yeah.
But it looks very nice. But
It's good.
good to see you as always. I appreciate you coming out to all the platforms and whatnot and chopping it up with us. So really, as far as like I said, Mike Tyson again, he's one of my childhood heroes, and I don't want to see him get hurt, and I don't want to see him get in any situation that could affect the rest of his life. I think he's gone through a lot, and for him to be at the place that he's at now, certainly I just want the best for him. So, but I got to say, I got to give the advantage to Paul. It's either Tyson under 3 rounds, or Paul by decision, or Tyson gets hurt. Those are, I would put like 33 and a third percent on any one of those scenarios. I do hope that he's able to, come. Both of the guys, quite frankly, yeah, as much as I don't like Jay Paul, I don't like seeing guys getting hurt. So both of those guys come out unharmed and can go on with the rest of their lives doing their business. But boxing in general, get your act together, put on. Thank God for the Saudis, because the Saudis are putting the money behind boxing that to make more of the fights that people want to see happen. And so if there was a call for people to support boxing, now is the time, because the Saudis, because also they're not interested in the money coming back, they're giving reasonable packages. Like it got to a point where to get a pay-per-view card was like $100. Now
Yeah.
they're going up to like $70, and you get like a whole day's worth of fighting. So definitely giving a lot of value for the money. And so I would encourage people to, certainly if you love boxing, to support these efforts by the Saudis and these other promotional companies to try to bring fighters together. But still, boxing, if you want to stay relevant, though, you're gonna have to, the promoters need to work together. The fighters need to get in there and fight and stop trying to milk us. with these fights that nobody wants to see. Boxing can be the best combat sport, period, if it gets its act together. I don't think boxing at its best beats MMA at its best, and it's not even close. So I would definitely encourage, the boxing to clean up its house so that again, everybody can profit and benefit, and they can return back to the glory days when it was the number one sport, and in America was boxing at one point in this country. And I hope it gets to that point again. So that's all. That's all I got.
Paul, before we move on to house, I want to ask a quick question. Do you think Tyson's maybe hurting for money? That's why he's doing this fight.
It's possible. I mean, he's never gotten to the. I mean, the guy made nine-figure money in his career. He had to give a lot of it away because of the prison, because of the taxes that he had to pay, and all that kind of stuff. So I think certainly the money he gets from this fight is certainly going to be a nice little. He's it's definitely money he's going to appreciate. I don't think he's got the kind of money to say that, okay, well, I don't need this because I got nine figures in the bank somewhere. So I think it's a nice payday for him and the things, other endeavors that he wants. So yeah, so I definitely think there's a financial component to this that I think he would certainly appreciate. If he was going, if they offered him $2 million, maybe not, but he's getting close to 20 million for this fight, and I think that is certainly incentive for
To hang it
yeah
up.
in order to to pull him out. So yeah, I would say he doesn't need it, but it certainly will be useful.
Yeah. All right, Paul. Thanks again.
Okay,
All right,
have a
Wally,
great night.
you're up.
Take care.
Oh, hi. Um, I am gonna try to get somewhere to see this fight because I always remember watching boxing with my dad, wrestling with my dad, all the kung fu movies. Like, so basically, I guess I got that spark for action from my dad. So, like Paul said, I hope Mike doesn't get hurt, but I think because of the youth of Paul, it might go the other way. So that's all.
Well, thank you like always. So, very fast with my stuff. Let me blow me up for a minute. Ah, here it is. Boom. There we go. Yeah, Tyson's a great fighter. I'm not gonna deny that. Paul, questionable. Is it rigged? Do they need money? I don't know. I want a fair, clean fight. Obviously, that's not gonna happen here. But I'm looking forward to it. Let's see when the time happens. So, except that, guys. Everybody bounced at me. I am Grooming and Reviews Ghost of Sparta. As always, stay fresh, stay safe. I see you guys on the next stream.